I realize it's low-hanging fruit, which is the most delicious fruit, but our lead does come from the big leagues, the boys in blue, who have been a staple of the Major League Baseball postseason. And this year, not only are they a baseball team, they have been for about a month bums. And I could argue all year in some areas this has been a bad product that they have put out on the field at Chavez Ravine, and there's no other way to say it. So if you were not following along, maybe you were not listening yesterday, the Dodgers got swept by the Gigantes over the weekend. San Francisco, who trailed early on game one, they were getting no hit, and then they just took off like a rocket ship from that point forward. Dodgers suffered one of their worst home losses in franchise history, 15-0 at the hands of the Giants in the game on Sunday. And so the Giants took the Dodgers' lunch money. They bludgeoned the Dodgers and then went out and they beat the Padres on a walk-off home run into McCovey Cove by Yaz on Monday night. But an epic sweep, and the Giants, they haven't done much since they won those World Series. So this, I guess, the greatest thing since then for the San Francisco Giants. But right now, the Dodgers are looking up at the backside of Arizona and San Francisco, and the Padres are on the prowl as they've woken up a little bit, although not on Monday night. And that brings us to the curious comments of Mark Pryor. Who? That's the Dodgers pitching coach. He used to pitch for the Cubs. If you're old, you remember that. But Mark Pryor said some of the struggles for the Dodger pitching staff, which is historically bad, like the worst Dodger pitching staff they've had in Los Angeles. They've never been this bad. They've never been this bad at all. But by the way, can we call the security here? Eddie Garcia, the cookie thief, just in the middle of my rant, walked in, the scumbag that he is. I will be contacting HR at iHeart, and we will get to the bottom of this. This is an HR violation. That is theft of baked goods. That is a Class 3 felony, according to the company protocols. Anyway, back to the point. So, Mark Pryor. Wow. What a jerk. What a schmuck. Unbelievable. Man, I guess there'll be an opening there. Coop, you'll be the only one left, Coop. That's it. Roberto's gone. We'll get rid of Eddie. The cookie thief. Yeah, now he's going to go take a photo that makes the cookie look disgusting and send it out. That's his next move. That's Eddie's playbook right there. Take a photo of oh, look how disgusting this cookie is. Oh, it's so terrible. Yeah. Let me find some dog crap out in the courtyard. I'll put it right there. Yeah. Wow. And then he goes in slow motion, like a total. All right. Anyway, so get to the point. Mark Pryor, the Dodger pitching coach, said of the team having issues on the mound, he said certain individuals' ability to execute pitches at different times has not been great. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Has not been great. Now, to rephrase that, the vibe around the Dodgers, and I've talked to some people out there that I know who I trust, the vibe around the Dodgers is that they're just merely the victims of bad luck. That they're not that far away and everything's going to be okay. There's no need to sound alarm bells at Chavez Ravine. Everything's going to be okay. So let us discuss the question. Are the Dodgers and their pitchers just dealing with rotten luck? Is that why they blow right now on the mound? And so the survey says no. The survey says no. Yeah, listen, that's a bunch of hogwash. It absolutely is. And we've got Van Gundy, helicopter, and fingernails. And we'll combine all of these things together, and we are going to make those soggy nachos that you get at the ballpark. You got to eat them right away, because if you don't eat them right away, the chips get all soggy, and then you got to get a pretzel. My move is you dip the pretzel into the soggy nacho cheese. That's my move. But number one. All right, so the quote, we gave you part of the quote from Mark Pryor, the Dodger pitching coach. That is wash. It is eyewash. It is hogwash. It is wash. Okay, is what that is. And you make your own luck. We start with that as a premise. But all of athletic competition, one of the great things about being a sports fan is that you have winners and losers, right? Winners and losers. As a former baseball player told me, winners and blankety-blank losers. But all of competition is how you perform in the moment under the pressure. And in any job, you could say, hey, I'm close. I could tell my bosses here at this company that I'm really close to being just as popular as Colin Cowherd. Now, they would laugh at me and kick me out of the office, but I could tell them that, right? I'm really close, I'm kind of there, kind of. And they'd laugh and snicker and have a guffaw, and then that would be that. But it's like the margins are so thin between who's good and who's bad, but there are clear points of demarcation. So when I hear somebody in sports say, well, it's just bad luck, we're just far away, I roll my eyes. I roll my eyes to the very back of my head, so I am now looking out the back of my head when I hear that, because it is a way to not be accountable. It's akin to the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo in the quote that will haunt him the rest of his career, saying, there is no failure in sports. There are just good days and bad days. And so I guess the Dodgers have just had too many bad days by that logic. They just had a lot of bad days. But I do go by the Jeff Van Gundy philosophy, the cliche that he loves to repeat when he's calling NBA games, that it's a make or miss league. But that's about anything in sports, right? In pitching, you either get 2 strikes and make the pitch to end the at-bat, or you don't, right? That's it. It's not, well, I was close to getting the batter out, but I didn't get the batter out, but I was going to get him out. No, that's not quite how the game works. And no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so in Southern California, there's this thing called June gloom. The Dodgers are suffering from the June gloom right now, and they have not won back-to-back games in the month of June. They have a losing record, and they have a ghastly team earned run average, which is ranked 25th in baseball. How bad? A 4.66 ERA, and that is the worst since they played in Brooklyn back in the 1940s. It's been almost 80 years since a Dodger pitching staff was this bad, and the bullpen is even more grim. The Dodger bullpen is the arson squad. When Dave Roberts goes out to the mound because the computer tells him to make a pitching change, so if he brings in a right-hander, that is gasoline. Right-hander's gasoline. Left-hander is the flamethrower, and then you bring in a right-hander, then a left-hander, and then it's just an inferno. It is just an absolute inferno. The Dodger bullpen is dead last in baseball. Now, some would say it's 29th and there's 30 teams. I say no. The Athletics are not even trying. They are attempting to move to Nevada, so I don't even count them. Now, secondly, why are the Dodgers in this predicament? Right, why are they? This has been a team. They have endless resources there. They keep raising the prices of everything at Dodger Stadium, and people keep paying the prices. They are absolutely gouging the Dodger fans at these games. It's insane how much the tickets are and how much everything is. It's just they keep going up, and away, and there's apparently no end in sight of that. But the return for the fan is you're supposed to be great, and that people will pay that money and all that because you're going to be great. But the Dodgers, the main issue is they bet on the wrong horse. There's 2 moves here that they made, right? The Noah Syndergaard move, that was our only notable pickup for the pitching staff, and he has been a bag of suck. Noah Syndergaard, horrible. And if he was a movie, they would have taken him out of theaters already. For some reason, the Dodgers are not willing to give up on him. They've buried him on the injured list with some phantom injury rather than just release him, even though he's got an ERA of over 7. But the big thing here, we talked a lot the last month or so when the playoffs were going on. People talked about the Heat culture, and I got upset with that. I was annoyed by that Heat culture because it's just too much. But the Dodgers, I'll call it the organizational philosophy. I don't agree. Now, they win. They're in the playoffs every year, so what do I know? I just do the overnight show here. But I don't like it. And part of the problem is I was raised with this idea that there was something to be respected. There was a bit of machismo when Fernando Valenzuela would go late into a game, or Oral Hershiser, right? In fact, Tommy Lasorda trying to toughen up Oral Hershiser, gave him the nickname the Bulldog. Well, if Dave Roberts were to give a nickname to his pitching phenoms, his young pitching phenoms. What would he call them? The Shih Tzus, the Chihuahuas, the Lap Dogs. I mean, it's just insane. It's like there's no shame. That's the part that drives me crazy when I'm watching these games and I'm listening to them on the radio. It's like this is the expectation. And I was raised where you're supposed to have high expectations for your kids, for your coworkers, for your friends, for your family, and because maybe you don't meet those high expectations, but you come close, right? You at least put the effort in. But Andrew Friedman and the bag of nerds over there, they're helicopter parents and overprotective, smothering instead of mothering the young pitchers for the Dodgers. And so you've got Dave Roberts, and I would do the same thing if I was Dave Roberts. He gets millions of dollars. He's just a middle manager. He's a sock puppet. Whatever the three-ring binder, whatever the nerds tell him to do, he does. It's all about limiting risk and play the numbers. And so if you have to pitch 5 or 6 pitchers every game, that's just the way it is, and that's fine. And some of them won't be good, but others might be good and all that stuff. But the pitching staff, if they were not pitching the big leagues, they would be driving Mr. Softy trucks is what they would be doing here. And it's I'll tell you what, the perfect microcosm for what the Dodgers have going on with their pitching staff and the organizational philosophy was summed up by Clayton Kershaw in Minnesota last year. Kershaw is pitching a perfect game through 7 innings. He had thrown 80 pitches. He was in complete control. I think it was May of 2022. And they take him out of the game. And then Kershaw said the 2 words which have stuck in my craw ever since then. He said that to throw a perfect game would be, those are selfish goals. Selfish goals. Selfish goal. To throw a perfect game is a selfish goal. All right, final point. So what is your level of concern for the Dodgers? So I'm not going to get crazy. I'm not happy with the product on the field. I do like the Dodgers. I watch them quite a bit and I flip around, watch a bunch of other teams also. But on the patented Maller scale of concern, 1 to 10, with 10 being the Hindenburg, the Dodgers get a 6.5, so slightly above average. I'm not at a 7. I'm only at a 6.5 on the Maller scale of concern. The Dodgers are going through a rough patch right now, and they're obviously not going to play this bad all year. But even as bad as they played, they're still hanging on, barely hanging on by their fingernails, and they bite their fingernails to the final playoff spot in the National League as they keep adding extra wild card teams. So as long as you're in, and they don't fall into Dante's Inferno, although part of me does wonder if they were to not make the playoffs, would they actually be scared straight? Would that actually be a good thing, and they might actually try something different at Dodger Stadium? And then I'm like, they'll just do the same thing. They'll just say, oh, it's sorry, that's a bad year. Well, no, it happens, But the bullpen, they got to make a couple trades, right? You make a couple trades. There's 2 things that I have confidence in: that the Diamondbacks are not this good. The Giants will cool down. I won 8 straight or something like that at this point, so they'll cool down. The Diamondbacks are playing over their heads, and the Dodgers are underperforming. So the Dodgers will come up a little bit. I don't know how much they're going to come up because their bullpen literally blows chunks, but they'll play better because they're going to trade some guys. They'll get Julio Urias back and Hudson in the bullpen and some other guys who are injured, and so that'll make them better. And as long as they get in the playoffs. But is it a good product? No. All right,